What's going on, guys? Travis here. Just gonna do a quick update. I brewed. I don't know if I filmed it. I don't know if I've talked about it, but I brewed an IPA that is based off of the Stone and Joy by IPA. So I brewed 10-gallon batch of it and split the batch into two different yeasts. One of the yeasts was just a 1056, and the other yeast was it was all Brettanomyces, and it was from East Coast Yeast Brewing. They're the same company that did the Bug 20. That they do a lot of different Brettanomyces, and kind of hard to find yeasts and stuff. But this is called East Coast Yeast Number 5 Bet Bruxellensis. It says it was a quote-unquote blend, so I'm not exactly sure if there's different types of Brett in that blend or if it was a single strain. I know it's primarily, I believe, used as a secondary yeast, so like in a Saison or something like that. But you can brew it as a primary yeast, and that's what I did. So we'll dive into it. The other one was just 1056. So the beer, I'll just give it to you basically. It was a recipe I got online. I'll put a link in the description of where I got the recipe from. It's a killer recipe, actually. It's really great. But it's basically a ton of different hops, mostly late boil, Amarillo, Belma, Northern Brewer, Simcoe, Cascade, Centennial, Citra. But the thing that I think kind of makes this beer really special is it's dry hopped with Galaxy and Nelson Sauvin, and they're a really great combination. They really give us a real fruity, mango-y, tropical thing. I've had both Galaxy and Nelson separately, and they're both great hops separately, and they are both great hops used together. So they were both these beers were dry hopped the same amount, but at different times. I let the Brett sit on the yeast cake longer than the 1056 version. The Brett, it went from, I brewed it on 1/30/2014, and within 11 days it hit terminal gravity, and that's just when I took the measurement. The terminal gravity was at 1018, so it was pretty high actually. And I let it sit on the yeast cake for another week, and it didn't drop at all. So I went ahead and caked it. And I can't remember what the L version was at, but 1056 usually would probably finish around 1012 or so. So let's give them just a quick review. Okay, I've obviously had both of them. This is the Brett version, and it smells a lot like a Saison or maybe more of a Belgian yeast strain. It has some sweetness in the smell. Again, these have lost a lot of their hop aroma. It's been over a month and a half since they've been kegged, so a lot of there's still some dry hop smell in there. But I noticed too on the Brett version, it seems to take the dry hop and I would say just the hop aroma. I've done 2 Brett beers. This being my second. It does seem to take away from like bitterness and perceived IBUs. Maybe is that the right word? And also the dry hopping. So I think it's kind of like, you know how like an English ale yeast, or let's say a Cal Ale yeast is better at accentuating the hop presence. And I think Brett, from my experience so far, has done a good job of, or not a good job, but it hinders it a little bit. Not to say it goes away completely, but it does hinder it. And this is the ale version. The ale version I was drinking a lot of when it was fresh, and it was phenomenal. It really was. It was super pungent, but a lot of that hop aroma has faded. It's faded quite a bit. But it still has a lot of the tropical flavors of Galaxy. It seemed like Galaxy was the kind of the dominant hop over Nelson Sauvant, but really great. I think they do really good as a team. So let's go ahead and just give them a quick taste. We'll start out with the Brett version here. Yeah. There was a lot of like a Belgian-y, I mean I'll keep saying that, but like a Belgian-y phenolic to it. Like a cross between a Belgian and a Saison. Phenolic. Not a ton of, maybe there's a little bit of funkiness in there too. Some of the hops do come through. It is bitter. It is hopped. It is, let me see what the IBUs are. The IBUs are quite high, or I guess 60 is what my notes are saying here. But it's got a lot of hops in it, a lot of late hops. But it is quite bitter. But a really enjoyable beer. If I was to give this to someone, they would probably say it was done with the Belgian yeast and not just Brettanomyces. I don't know if I would do this one again. It's good, but the other type of Brettanomyces, like the Brett Brooks Taurus, or I don't know, I can't remember. But that one does a more of a tropical flavor, so that's probably the one I'll be doing more of. And just the normal ale version. Yeah. Bitterness is about the same though, so. There's some alcohol in there, a little bit. This one's turned out to be about 8%. This one's about 7, give or take, just because this one finished at such a higher gravity. But yeah, this one isn't nearly as good as it was 3-4 weeks ago, a month ago. This one was just absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't keep my hands off of it, but a lot of the hop flavors died, so now it's just kind of an okay IPA. I have not been drinking beer. I've been on a diet. Some guys at work are doing like a weight loss challenge, so we all have $100 into it. So I've been like, in fact, I've had like half a glass of beer. So, and that's not true. On St. Patrick's Day, I went out and kind of did a bit of a run there downtown. But yeah, for the most part, I haven't been drinking beer very much. So it's kind of sad to see this one kind of go downhill. This one has been staying pretty solid though. I mean, it's been about where I remember it. I mean, it's still really good. It has a lot of hop flavor. A lot of the kind of the citrusy, fruity type of a flavor. So, anyways, so that's it for the beer. Jeez, I'm probably running long. This is gonna be a long video. Some other big news that's going on. Oh, let's start with the sjpoor challenge. I don't know if we're talking about what beers we're gonna do. I think I've seen some videos where they're all hush-hush about it, and some other videos where they're not going to tell you what the ingredients are, but they'll show you them brewing what's obviously a stout. But I'm going to be brewing a 100% Brett beer. It will have, and I'll tell you the yeast, it's going to be the White Labs, Brett Buxalenus. I can never remember. I don't think I've actually ever heard it said, but it's Brett Buxalenus Tortoise. I think it's Torio. That's how you spell it, Toro. So, Trois or something, I don't know. So it's going to be that. So it's going to be a real tropical type Brett. This Brett is primarily used for a 100% Brett fermentation. It's where it really shines. I've never used it personally, but I've used one very similar to it. So I think I'm going to do a Brett IPA or a Brett Pale Ale. So that's when I don't have a recipe really down. I do know the type of hops I'm going to use that maybe play on that tropical passion fruit pineapple thing. So it's going to be a mango fruity bomb. So, yeah, I haven't really been brewing at all. Been on this weight loss kick. It's totally sucks shit. I have salads and chicken breasts. That's basically what I've been eating. It's just like cut up chicken breasts on salad with light dressing. I have a juicer, like one of those Jack LaLanne, but it's not Jack LaLanne, but like the juicer. So I'll juice in the morning, and then pretty much I'll have like 2 or 3 chicken breasts and salad the rest of the day. It sucks. I've lost about 10 pounds, but that's what you get when you do nothing but drink beer and eat bad food for about 3 or 4 years. You get about 30, 40 pounds overweight. But I also have some really big plans, and this has been in my head for about a year to do this. I kept thinking that maybe it would leave my head, because I have a lot of ideas on just random stuff, and as long as I don't impulsively act on them, usually the dumb ideas will go away, you know. But this one hasn't gone away in about a year, and with my wife being pregnant, I know I won't have very much time for brewing, if at all. So I gotta rush it a little bit. So I'm going to fill a wine, like an oak barrel, a 60 or 59 gallon barrel, and I'm gonna do I'm gonna call it an American sour. I'm not gonna call it a lambic, even though the recipe's gonna look very lambic-ish. It's gonna be very pale, wheat, oats, Belgian Pilsner. Is gonna be the most of it, but yeah, so I'm gonna do it myself. I've gone through the logistics. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be about a 2, maybe a 3-day brew day, double, maybe even triple batches. But I think I have, and I kind of came up with I thought, pretty ingenious plan. And let me know what you guys think. So my plan is to brew 11 gallons at a time, obviously, because I use kegels, of 1075 wort. So, 1.075 original gravity at the end of the boil. I'm going to brew that, maybe even go a little higher on the gravity, but probably not. And I'll be using like an aged hop. I don't really know what to do, if I should use aged hops, but I do have a pound of a Splat, I think is the name of this hop. It's like a 3.5% alpha acid hop, so it's a real low hop, and I basically bought a pound of it just for doing sours. But so I think I'll probably use that, to be honest with you, since I'm not going for a true authentic lambic. I'm not going to use an aged hop. I'm just going to try to hop it to like 10 IBUs or so. Yeah, 10 to 12 is my goal. So if I brew this really strong wort, which is 1075, and through a little bit of calculation, if I put 4 gallons into it, which would bring up that volume to 15 gallons, it would be at 1.055. And so basically, it's kind of like doing like a partial or a partial, what is that called? Brewers will do like a partial mash when they start getting into it because they don't have full volume, and then add just water back to the beer to bring up the volume. So they do a concentrated boil and adding water back. The problem with doing that with, like, say, a pale ale or an IPA is that you lose a lot of the hop bitterness. But since I'm doing a sour with low hop bitterness, I won't have to. I'll take that into account a little bit, but that's not really going to be a concern. So if I can do double brew days of 1075 wort, which I've done double brew days, and I know I can do that, and it's about an 8 to 9 hour brew day, and this is quasi unpleasant to do. If I do 2 of those, well, let me re-say. So an 11 gallon batch, I dilute up to 15 gallons. So obviously, in one day, I can make 30 gallons of wort. So I can do that, if I do that in 2 days, I can have 60 gallons. Well, my plan is to pitch in 10 gallons of sour beer that I already have going. The sour beer I'm going to use, one is a pure strain of East Coast Yeast Bug Country 20. It was only pitched with that. I did it And here's where I'm rushing it. I brewed that one 3 months ago, so it's not, the beer's not done fermenting, obviously. Um, I was planning on doing this about a year from now. Um, I really wanted to put in 10 gallons of like a really mature sour into this 60-gallon barrel to really just get things rocking. But so I'm going to pitch that one, and that I'm going to pitch that beer, and I think I'm going to do some tastings before I decide on this other one. I'm definitely going to do the East Coast East number 20. It's got a ton of Brettanomyces, ton of pedio, ton of lactobacillus. It's a really good blend. And I have a beer that I brought that I cultured up from Crooked Stave, an Oculus beer, and it tastes really great so far. And I think that one's pushing 6 months old. So I plan on pitching 10 gallons of really young sour beer into this, and then I'll do. I want to have 10 gallons sitting right next to it of sour beer that's going at the same time, so I can top off, or at least have the option of topping off. I don't know how much liquid I'm going to lose from this wine barrel. I might end up losing quite a bit. I don't know. I do want to keep the headspace low. I don't even know if I don't think traditional sour beer brewers top off their barrels with more sour beer. I can't imagine them doing that in a huge barrel room, topping off with 5 gallons every 6 months. But I'm going to, and I figure if I have basically the same beer going in the barrel and in the 2 carboys right next to it, that topping off with the same beer isn't going to hurt it. So I'm going to do that at least. If I don't need to top it off, then I have another 10 gallons of sour beer just hanging out. So I am going to ferment. I've gone back and forth whether to. I mean, I don't know how you ferment 60 gallons if you're not going to ferment it in the barrel. I had one option to ferment it, to do primary fermentation in a water barrel, like those blue water, for storing water, and those are 55 gallons. So to do at least the majority of, so I could do like at least 40 gallons of the primary in there or something. But you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it. Sour beers or Lambic brewers, they do their primary in barrels, so I don't think it's going to hurt at all. It might actually help. So that's where I'm going to go with that. Yeah, a lot of tropical fruit. So that's what I'm doing. There's a barrel shop here in Denver that has just a ton of wine barrels and stuff. I bought a 5-gallon whiskey barrel from them about a year ago, and so I think tomorrow I'm going to go pick one up. If anyone has any suggestions on prepping the barrel, I guess my plan right now is I'm going to try to fill it up with boiling water. Hopefully that will kill anything, or at least put in like 20 gallons of hot water and kind of rotate it a little bit to make sure it's not leaking anywhere, and to kind of get the staves soaked back up. I'm not sure what type of wine barrel I'm going to have. It depends on what they have. It's going to run me about $130 for the wine barrel. They do have that on their website, and I've asked them before. I've been in their shop before, so $130 for the barrel, and I'm estimating with the grain, it's going to be probably about another $140 for the grain. So about, yeah, give or take. I already have the hops, which isn't going to be very much. So rough estimate, I'm looking at a $300 brew, which is kind of a lot, but it kind of isn't, considering it's 60 gallons of if everything goes good, it'll be 60 gallons. And I plan on just doing like a Solera project with it, so I'll pull off, 10, 15, maybe even 20 gallons at a time, pitch fresh wort back into it, it'll re-ferment, and hopefully in 6 months, maybe less, maybe more, it'll have fermented that beer. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a year to 2 years before I start drinking on it. But, So yeah, it's a really ambitious project. I hope it doesn't. I hope it works. I hope something doesn't bad happen. Um, I am gonna build a stand for it. I mean, I have a welder and stuff, so um, I can weld up like a little stand. So I'm gonna have the whole barrel on wheels, so it'll be in my basement. And let me just give you the grain bill. It's kind of fucking nuts. The cat is back. Hold on 1 second. So I've kind of been going back and forth on the grain bill a little bit. Let's see. So it's going to be 109 pounds of Pilsner malt, 24 pounds of wheat, 6 pounds of acid malt, and 6 pounds of flaked oats. Yeah, 109 pounds of Pilsner. I guess you got to do it. So obviously there's going to be a lot of preparation in this beer. The diluting of the beer is what's really going to save my ass, because if not, I was going to either have to do triple brew days, which is 30, 10-gallon batches, 3 of them, which that would probably take like a 13 hour, 10 to 11 hours of brewing, which you guys know a 5-hour brew day is somewhat difficult. If something goes wrong and it turns into a 7-hour, you're pretty tired, so I don't really want to do that. So the diluting of the beer is going to help quite a bit. I don't know if it's beneficial. Like it can't be beneficial, but it's basically what I'm looking at. So within 2 days, I will brew up 40 gallons worth of beer and dilute that up and pitch maybe 5 to 10 gallons of mature or young sour beer in there to inoculate the barrel. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll use any Saccharomyces in there or not. If I do, it's going to be very little. Maybe like 1 vial of a English ale yeast or something. So I haven't quite locked down all my procedures so far, but I've got quite a bit of it done in my head. So I'm going to go look at the barrels tomorrow. I'm probably not going to buy one tomorrow. So I'm leaving out of town in a week. But when I come back, I think it's game on. So sorry this is such a long brew day. I'm on this diet. I can't even drink the rest of this beer. I would love to, but I don't know why I poured such full glasses. As this warms up, there's a lot of passion fruit that the Brett is producing versus this one. Yeah. As this one is warming up, it's getting to be more of a tropical, pineapple-y. It's good. I like this one fresh, but now that this one is a month and a half old, I like this one. And that's kind of why I like Brett beers. They just stay better for longer. Their oxidation properties, their antioxidant properties are amazing. So you can have, that's why you can have a 3-year-old sour and it's not drinking cardboard box. Drink a 3-year-old blonde ale and see what that thing tastes like. It's going to taste like shit. So, anyways, big news. So, yeah, looking forward to the SJ challenge. I'll be brewing that up pretty soon as well. And that's it. Sorry for the long video again. All right, guys. So I'll be giving regular updates on this barrel project. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. I think about it all the time. I've kind of set myself goals for it, and I want to do it obviously before the kid comes and before the temperature here in Denver gets too hot. So my basement never gets above 70, but I want to keep it in the 60s for the primary fermentation at least. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye.